So Final Fantasy XVI has been out for a few days now, and I did initially release a video last week asking if it was worth the hype. I have deleted it as I wanted to redo it, because after continually playing the game, my opinions have remained the same, but a lot of my opinions have changed. But without waffling on too much, now this game has great characters, including Clive Rosfield, the main character. He is not afraid to cry, he shows a lot of emotion and a lot of range. He's not just the consistent brooding badass that is usually the case within action RPGs or JRPGs. Now Cloud Strife will always be my favourite, mainly for nostalgic reasons, but Clive Rosfield is a very, very close second. Cid is also a badass in the game, and although his voice threw me, now it is a voice actor from Game of Thrones, he's also in Diablo 4, but it did throw me because he has a very deep voice, and that's not what I pictured Cid having, all the way through other Final Fantasies. Also, Gav needs to be protected at all costs because he is also super cool. The game is beautiful graphically, and I've been playing it on resolution mode, and it's pretty solid frame rate wise. I think it drops occasionally from time to time, but it's very minimal and probably for like a split second. But apart from that, the game graphically is very fantastic looking and does make the boss fights and icon battles incredibly flashy, and they are also a ton of fun. The story overall is really, really good, all about acceptance, revenge, loss, war, and an evil entity called the Blight, which is sucking the life out of the world, and it's your mission to try and prevent that from happening. The combat is great, but it becomes amazing. Trust me, it does start off quite simplistic, but as you progress, level up, get ability points to be able to upgrade and unlock new abilities. When Clive gains the abilities of new icons like Garuda, Ramu, and others I'm not going to spoil, and of course upgrading Ifrits, you get to just swap between them on the fly and pull off some really cool combos, and it's pretty fluid. It's still not Devil May Cry spectacular, but the combat is fantastic, and although I am an old school Final Fantasy player, no, it does not bother me whatsoever that there is no turn-based fighting in this game. I think the combat is fantastic and works really well within this world. The world itself, again, is incredibly interesting and does open up the more you progress through the game. It does start off quite linear for the first few hours, but please press on. The story is worth it. The gameplay is worth it. And as the game progresses, you unlock more and more things, which for me personally, I love, because with that, you're able to continually have things around the corner to work towards. You're not being given everything at the start of the game, because a lot of people do tend to get bored if they've been given all of the tools at the beginning of the game. But as you progress, about halfway through, you unlock the high wind airship as the hideaway. It's not flyable, it's just kind of there as a ruin, but you get access to a lot of different things, including hunting boards, and there are plenty of side quests, which are hit and miss. Some of them are really, really good, but some of them are just basic fetch quests, but some of them are pretty cool, especially when it shows, well, it's not cool when I say that it shows the mistreatment of the bearers. You'll know if when you play it, they're kind of treated as slaves and property, and they are treated terribly in the game. And as Clive is branded for reasons, you just see the way people treat him, although he doesn't have a master. Now, the game does have some weird lip syncing at times, and it is a very, very slow burn. But I was very worried and skeptical towards the beginning of the game, but as the game progressed, I fell in love with it, and this has become definitely top 5, maybe top 3 Final Fantasies, up there with Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 14. This is a great game, and some of you probably wondering, I didn't mention 10. 10 has never really been one of my favourites. I like 10, but again, 10 is incredibly linear. 10 is very, very linear. 13 is super linear. But anybody complaining about the linearity of this Final Fantasy, yes, I agree with you. It's very linear at times, and it's not an open world checklist game. There's no towers to climb to unlock events around the area with the enemy outposts and all that stuff. But for me personally, that's a breath of fresh air. you can plow on with the main story if you so choose. I haven't been. I've been doing all the side quests as I've been finding them. And I've been engaging in combat, not for grinding, because grinding is non-existent really. You don't need to grind at all. You don't really need to level up any weapons or any armor or anything, because you get given weapons and armor as the game progresses. But apart from that, it's a pretty standard Final Fantasy, and it is worthy of the title Final Fantasy, and feels more Final Fantasy than Final Fantasy has felt in a long time. That's a lot of Final Fantasies. But Final Fantasy 16 is 100% worth picking up. Was it worth the hype? Was it as groundbreaking and as amazing as everybody said? I don't think so. It doesn't do anything new. It is a spectacle. The cutscenes, the icon boss battles, the main boss battles, they are spectacles within themselves. I've had no PlayStation overheat things. I know some people have PlayStations overheating, but maybe don't play your PlayStation for 17 hours in a row, or it has been quite hot here in the UK. Just choose to play it in the evening, maybe. You got to take that into account. But yeah, it was. I don't think it was worth quite the hype, but for a Final Fantasy fan like myself, the game has surprised me on a lot of levels. And I can't wait to continually keep playing through it on the harder difficulties to get the platinum. But I also can't wait for people on Xbox and PC to play the game too. If you have a PS5, I recommend picking it up. If you do not have a PS5, I don't believe it's a console seller. But if you are playing it and you're towards the beginning of the game and you are feeling very like it's linear, and yes it is, there's a lot of cutscenes, that's Final Fantasy, but please stick with it. When you get halfway through the game and you do the side quest to unlock the Chocobo to help you run around the open areas within the game to do side quests or whatever it is you want to do, collecting materials or doing the bounties on the bounty board, you'll start to... I've had fun from the beginning. I was just a bit worried that it seemed very linear. But trust me, this is the game you need to stick with. But please let me know in the comments down below if you've played it, or if you happen to catch the video I made. I have deleted it, not because of any hate or whatnot. I just wanted to just talk about it a bit more and just be a bit better. I was very skeptical then, as I'd only played about 12 hours of it. But now I am all in. And still agree that's not worth the hype, but it is a fantastic, solid game and one of the best Final Fantasies I have played in a very, very long time. But thank you very much for watching.
Oh, that's a fine sword, friend. Heavy though, I expect. What say we relieve you of it? Get him, lads. I want that blade.
Let's get this over with.